and I'm combined. The only difference is I know how to cope with the very weight bearing down on my shoulders. Shoulders. Shoulders.
Hey guys, it's Taysgreenlife. I'm here with Kendel from Heavy is the Head. Hello, how are you today?
Hey, how is everybody?
It's going good. So let's go ahead and start with what was the idea behind Heavy is the Head?
Some old guys getting together and wanting to play music again. That's kind of the whole idea. That's it. Just making music that we want to play, and hopefully people like it. If they don't, that's cool too, because I still like it. I still enjoy it.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what people think. It matters like how you were doing it and how like you love it. Like something you want to do. And if you don't feel happy doing it, then of course you're not going to want to do it, you know?
Absolutely.
So saying that, I saw, I guess, the album cover. Where did the idea come with that? I guess it's
So
like
which,
the first one about the what was it? I guess the one you just released.
so the one we just released, like
Yes.
it's like just tan and black or whatever like that. There really isn't. I mean, I wish I had some like really cool story behind it.
Yeah.
My really old friend Matt Singleton, who plays guitar in a band called Mean Jesus, he's like the best designer ever, and he put it together for us, and we all really liked it. That's kind of the even just our like the font and the stuff that we use for our band name, and the album cover. It's kind of no frills. It's just big blocky lettering. That's kind of the way we try and portray ourselves. I mean, it's not like the death metal vocal, like words and stuff like that where you like can't read it, or that we just wanted something big, thick, and heavy, which is kind of what we sound like, I think. And it's what I look like, so it works out on all different levels.
Yeah, I get that. I guess the other album cover was Broken Flags. Is that the correct one where it was?
Yeah. So two of the songs on the High Pressure EP that we released, we put out kind of as a single a while ago, and that was actually put together by Matt Fisher, the singer from Contact. There's so many Matts. They're all Matts.
Yeah.
That was I don't know where he got that image from, and I've actually seen that image like other places too. So hopefully we get sued for copyright infringement. I don't know. But that was it's a really old picture of a Roman city falling, and like they're pulling down statues and stuff like that, which is super outdated, but yet then you look at like recent history, and it's kind of the same thing, which kind of shows that, to me at least, it showed that the human experience really isn't evolving as much as we think it is. They were doing the same thing back in the beginning of time, and now we're still doing it. So for some reason we still keep putting statues up of people,
and they want their voice out there, but like at the same as who we are. And I'm like, these statues and stuff made us like who we are today.
I mean, we can enjoy history and know history and learn about history, but we also don't need to like build totems to worship people.
This is
like
true.
That's silly to me, at least. I mean,
I mean, but
I just read about like letting, like, sure, go ahead and build your statues, but like statues should only be allowed to be built out of like wood, like non-pressure treated wood, so like it only lasts a couple years. because like I'm sure whatever they put up a statue, like I'm sure it's great at the time, and then everyone's got skeletons in their closets that immediately like come out, and everyone's like, ooh, we shouldn't have put a marble statue of this guy in the middle of our city.
Oh, that's great. I do like the idea, where it's what we're going through right now, and you're trying to reference that in your music. I've seen like the lyrics for Foundations. You want to go over like how you put together that song?
So Foundations is kind of is about I wrote it about two different people, but really here recently it really was hit home about so my grandfather suffered from dementia and Alzheimer's, and it's about the foundation that we've built of a relationship, and kind of the walls starting to crumble down and losing his cognitive functions, and forgetting who people are and stuff like that. But in the end, that foundation of that relationship and that love that we had will never change and stuff like that. So that's kind of what Foundations is about.
And when all the other songs and stuff, is it like do you come up with some of the lyrics, or is it like a teamwork where everyone's like, oh, let me put this part in, or is it just made up by one person?
I'm responsible for the lyrics. That's kind of the only thing I bring to the band. I'm not a musician by any means. I can't play any instrument, so I let them handle the important stuff like music, and then I write lyrics, and I kind of just most of the time I will come in like with an idea of what I want the song about, and then it just kind of writes itself with along with the music. I kind of just fit my words with how the music is.
And with like music, like back then, let's say like if you were like creating music in your like early 20s compared to now, like what do you feel like is the difference?
I mean, writing about different things. I mean, people write about what's going on in their life. I mean, I speak for myself. Most people do. And I was a different guy when I was in my 20s than now when I'm in my 30s. Hopefully everybody is. Hopefully everybody kind of evolves. How awful would it be if you never evolved as a person? So, I mean, that's kind of where my lyrical contact comes from. Is me personally, I tend to write about like what's going on in the world, what's going on, because it's not about me anymore. I mean, it should never have been about me, but I don't have a whole lot of like in my life. I've got an incredible wife. I've got 3 awesome kids. Like I'm not like bummed about life anymore like I was when I was a kid. So not that there's anything wrong with that by any means. I mean, and that's what's good about music is that when I was younger, that's what I would write about, and it was very therapeutic, and it got me through that stuff. Now it's a how can I process what's going on socially in the world nowadays, and now I can write about that, and it helps me. Hopefully, it helps somebody else. So.
All right. So, who would you say is a big influence on some of the music you've written today?
I didn't write any music today, but in the last couple days, I don't know. So that's always a really good question with our band because we all listen to such different things. I mean, even just the different bands that we're in, like our bass players in a pop punk band. One of our guitar players is in like shoegaze bands and pop punk bands, and the other guitar players in a death metal band. But me personally, I like more of the straightforward hardcore stuff. Here recently, the new End It album is really good. I really like Drain, and I really like the older stuff, like the old punk driven stuff, like Minor Threat and Gorilla Biscuits and stuff like that. But I mean, not to take away from, we all love heavy metal. We all love all that different stuff. I mean, we have one of our t-shirts is a Brooks and Dunn ripoff shirt. So like we all love Brooks and Dunn. I mean, who doesn't love Brooks and Dunn? So like yeah, I mean that's kind of, we're all over the place with our musical, which is cool. I mean, I think that's the way you should be.
So I do have another question on here about, I guess it was the Riff House, and Chesapeake area, and then you've also played at the Camel, the Canal, and the Bike Shop.
Yeah.
And I think you said that the Camel was one of your favorites because it was, I guess, had more space to it.
Yeah, it seems cool.
So about the Riff House, because I mean the Camel and the Canal Club is, Richmond, but you're you're spreading out to Virginia Beach and Chesapeake area. Would you say that those are two different scenes? Or would they be
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the cool things about Virginia. And there's other states too, but like really, I mean, Virginia Beach is a market, Richmond's a market, Northern Virginia's a market. The mountains like Roanoke has got a new scene that's popping up, really cool. There's a ton of different places that you can go to shows. And it's also, if a tour comes to Virginia Beach and we're in Richmond, it's not that far to drive to like go to the show. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's a whole nother world in Virginia Beach. Whole nother group of kids, which was awesome. Virginia Beach is definitely popping off pretty well right now.
And with, because you're in the Richmond scene, how do you feel like if with Richmond being in the scene it is, do you think anything can change in it, or do you think it's fine the way it is?
I mean, more people could come to shows. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think we're in a period right now where I think we're to the tail end of it, but I mean, everyone's been locked in their houses for so long.
Yeah.
It's going to take time to have shows completely packed again, just because, I mean, people are still trying to get back out there and get used to being in crowds again and like stuff like that. But I mean, I love Richmond. I've always loved Richmond. I've always loved the music scene. If you really love music, there's always going to be a show for you going on. So like, if you're not coming to the shows, that's on you. That's your fault.
Yeah. I saw, like, I think it was a post recently. Someone was kind of upset because they were like, I guess the Canal Club sold out in a matter of like a couple minutes for another show, and people were like, there is a local music scene. It's just people only go to like the big brands, but don't even make it out to any of the local shows. How do you feel about that?
I mean, that's not the way I do it, but that's with all scenes. That's always the way it's going to be, and I think that's why it's I think it's important for, if you quote unquote bigger bands on these bigger tours. Sometimes their hands are tied, but really you really ought to have opener spots for those tours, because it's not about like the selling tickets and getting people in, because those bigger tours are going to do that themselves.
Yes.
It's really the exposure of, hey, I saw this band, like what is tonight? Isn't tonight like
Miss May I
and
the Vilified,
and the local is Vilified, right? Yeah. So like, hopefully kids that have never heard of Vilified before go to see Miss May I, and hopefully they're not losers and show up late, but if they get to the show on time, they see Vilified, and now they're Vilified fans, and they realize, oh, that band's from down the street. That's awesome. That's a really, really important thing with opening big tours like that. But even at that, you should still go to local shows. I mean, local shows are fun. I try and get to them when I can, as much as I can. But yeah, it's also fun just to hang out with friends. And when there's a friend, all the bands are friends.
Yes.
It's such a cool, experience.
Yeah, because I've actually like started going out more to some of the shows, and I've been realizing like, oh, everyone's friends, so then everyone's talking to everybody about like, oh, this cool girl's interviewing us and she's into the local scene and you should jump on. And then like, oh, this band heavy is the head, I like you guys' music, this has been a great interview. And like, I'll be telling people like, oh, watch the interview, like here's their exposure, like let's see this guy for like not as the front man, but as like an actual person, because these local bands ain't even big bands, are people themselves.
Right.
And like they're just asking for the same attention like as everyone else, you know, for their
Yeah, but
shows.
don't let people know that we're like regular people.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't, my wife does that all the time. Like even like we've been together forever, and every time we like we'll play a show, like I'm like yelling into the microphone and like this big tough guy, and then I get off on stage and Brittany, my wife, is like, he's like a softie, like he like will cuddle with his cat and was like in bed by 9 o'clock. I'm like, babe, you can't let people know that like I'm
No,
like
you can't.
a regular person.
That's great, but I mean, you guys are regular people. Just I mean, yeah, you're, you know, on the stage, you're
No,
screaming, you're showing, but
we're
like,
rock stars. Don't look at us in the
no,
eyes.
don't look at
No,
us in the
no,
eyes.
I'm joking.
I can see that, but I mean, like some people, you know, they want to be treated as people, not like, oh my God, big star, oh my God, we should follow them and freak out. And I'm like, they're doing everything, you know, you guys are doing what the big bands used to do, you know, it's just a little bit more difficult now. Well, I think it
Right.
might be a little bit easier now with social media.
It's
And
different. It's not easier. It's not difficult. It's just, it's different. It's definitely different than when I
yeah,
was coming up when I was way younger. I mean, we're figuring it out, but like, it's still the same network of like meeting friends, playing a show with them. Like all the bands that we've met with from like out of town and stuff like that, we've ended up connecting with later on and like doing weekend tours with, just for the fact of like, it's a network of a bunch of weirdos like ourselves, like connecting, and that's really what it's all about.
and that's really important, like with the networking and contributing and going to other shows too, not just like, you know, just to
Right.
the certain people. You should be supporting the whole scene, you know, and
Absolutely.
trying to give the support to everyone there is, because everyone's struggling, you know, everyone's trying to get out and do new things. Like some of the younger bands that are coming out, was there any advice you would like to give them?
Don't stop. uh Keep going to shows. Make your music for you, don't make it for anybody else. Make your music mean something. um there's a fine line. Either make your music mean something, or make your music so absurd that doesn't mean anything, that like it's super fun. But also have fun. Don't, you know, I don't know, make friends, keep in touch with those friends.
Yeah. So you did have, I guess you played, oh, is it with Strikeface? I think that's the band called.
Yeah. Those are our friends from South
Recently.
Carolina.
Yeah, I guess
So
on the
last weekend we did a
23rd.
little weekend
Yeah.
run with them. Yeah,
And how'd that go?
it was fun.
Fun.
We played in it was like Somerville, Charleston, South Carolina area. And then the next night we played in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then we played in Richmond. And it was great. Well, Richmond wasn't crazy packed.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to have more people, but I think there was a couple shows going on that night anyway. But Charlotte and Somerville were awesome. Those shows were great. The dudes that we played with, Strikeface, are awesome. If you haven't heard of them yet, look them up. They're great dudes, solid people. So it was fun.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so excited to see what you guys come up with next. The interview is getting a little close. It's 30 minutes. Anything else you want to talk about while we're still here? Anything else you want everyone to know about you?
Listen to High Pressure on all your streaming platforms. And if you like that, then there's a link in our Instagram bio, but also our record label's bio, where you can order the 7-inch of that, the physical record. And there are a bunch of different variant colors and stuff like that they're coming out with. So that should be cool. If people collect records and stuff like that, you can order more than one.
Yeah.
That'd be even cooler. But yeah, that's it. And come to some shows. Come to a show. I think our next show, I don't know when this comes out, but our next show is on October 15th.
Yeah.
We're playing with Varials, Boundaries, Orthodox, and Distinguisher, which will be a cool show.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm gonna check it out. And I think everyone else should check it out. It's October 15th, and
Yeah.
what's
And it's a Saturday too.
It's a
So
Saturday.
There's no excuse for you not to be
Yeah.
there.
Is it is it at the Canal Club or?
It's at Canal Club. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it, guys. This was Heavy in the Head. Check them out on like all platforms. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you in the scene.
Thank you so much.